Hello to every student, and I hope everyone is doing fine. And for today's video, our topic, as you know from the thumbnail, it's osmosis. So we'll start the video, and today we will be understanding what is osmosis, we'll identify the components involved in it, we'll perform Raisin experiment, and then we'll relate osmosis to real life. So let's dig in. So, in the introduction part, I have a small pictorial story. So, what does this story tells about? There are a group of students along with their teacher, and they went on a trip to the rainforest with their teacher. But see, one student is crying, and the teacher is helping. Why the student is crying? Because he has a leash attached to the leg. But the two teachers say, "Don't worry, I will help you." The teacher puts salt on the leech, and suddenly the leech's body releases a lot of water, and the leech shrinks and dies. Hmm. So, what actually happened inside the leech, and why did water move out of its body after salt was added? This is the question. What actually happened inside the leech body that caused the water to move out of its body? So, the answer lies in the fantastic biological process that we call osmosis. So, let's understand what is osmosis. Now, if we connect two cups, or if we, for example, see here, we have a U-tube which is separated by a semi-permeable membrane. So, one side, say we have water, and say these balls to be as sugar or salt molecules, salt particles. So one side the salt particles are less, but the other side the salt particles is more. So here there is low solute concentration. That is, the salt here is the solute and the water here is the solvent. So see, the particle solute concentration in this side is low and this side it is high. But what do we see? After some time, the water start moving from this low solute concentration to a high solute concentration till it will keep moving till the concentration, like equivalent solute concentration, we reach in both sides. So what does it mean? So let's this flow of movement of water from the region of low solute concentration to the region of high solute concentration is referred to as osmosis. And water is a thing which naturally moves from one region to another. So, in osmosis, we can define osmosis as the process in which water moves through a semi-permeable membrane from a region of low solute concentration to a region of high solute concentration. And this movement of water is referred to as osmosis. So the key components here are, we know that how a solution is formed. When solute is added to a particular solvent, say when we added salt or sugar to water, it makes a sugar solution, a salt solution, right? So how do we decide the concentration? The more the solute in the solution, the more is the concentration. So if we go back, see here the particles, say the salt particles were less in this side, the salt particles were more on this side. The salt concentration, like it has low concentration. So concentration depends on the amount of solute particles in a solution, right? And if there is more solute, means the solution is more concentrated. So this solution is more concentrated, this solution is less concentrated because it has low solute. So because of this difference, low concentration to high concentration, water move from low solute concentration to high solute concentration through this membrane. So the key concept here is that solute plus solvent makes solution. And if this how we decide the concentration is more or less, it depends on the solute. There is more solute, the concentration will be more. And what is the role of the semi-permeable membrane? It allows only water to pass, but it restricts the movement of the solute particles. For example, our cell membrane, and in our filters we have dialysis too, right? they behave as the semi-permeable membrane, allowing only the water to move but not the solute. And this movement of water from a region of low concentration to high concentration through a semi-permeable membrane is called osmosis. So now we can relate to the story why water moved up, because when we put salt over the leech, the surface concentration of solute was more as compared to the inner concentration of like solute. So to balance this, to so the water move from low concentration to high concentration. Therefore, the water is released from the body of the leech, and the leech died because of dehydration. Right. Then we got definition of osmosis. Now we'll see how osmosis, like how do we, like, based on osmosis, we have three type of solutions: hypotonic solution, isotonic solution, and hypertonic solution. So we'll see what is a hypotonic solution. Like, if a solution have few solute, like, so that solution with less solute particles is referred to as hypotonic solution. But if the solution, for example, see here in isotonic solution, we took a animal cell, right? And we placed it in a solution in which the solute particles were low. And this cell inside, and this animal cell, for example, this is an RBC, the solute inside would be more. So what will happen? The water will move from this hypo with less solute concentration from hyposonic solution inside. Water will move inside. The cell will swell, and ultimately it burst. Same. If I keep a plant cell in a hypotonic solution, a solution which have few solute particles, so less, the water have a tendency to move from less solute to high solute concentration. The water will move inside the cell. The swell will swell. So whenever a cell is placed in a solution which is hypotonic, for a hypotonic solution, what is a hypotonic solution? Which have few solute particles. The water move inside the cell. Whether you place, for example, here in case of animal cell, it moved into the cell. Same in case of plant cell, it moved, and the cells swell. Right. For example, if you keep raisins in a solution, like in have you seen raisins? We keep them in water overnight. Earlier they are shrinked, but after overnight soaking they become swell. Why does happen? Because the water have less solute, and inside the raisin the solute was more. So water moved from low solute to high solute, and thus raisins swell. Same happened in the case of this. So the solution with low solute particles is called hypertonic. Same. A solution with more solute particle is referred to as hypertonic. Sorry, this is hypotonic, this is hypertonic. More solute is hypertonic and less solute is hypotonic. So what will happen? Here it was getting swelled. So here the water will move out and it will shrink. The cell will shrink. Same in case of plants. The water will move out. But what is isotonic solution? A solution in which the concentration of solute is equal both inside and outside. So for example, if I keep a cell in an isotonic solution, so it has equal concentration of solute in the isotonic solution, or all will match to the concentration of solute inside the cell. So the movement of water in and out will be equal. So it will not cause any effect to the cell. Neither it will cause swelling nor it will cause the shrinking of the cell. So our blood is an example of isotonic solution. Like, our blood is isotonic, because of which the cells in our body remain normal. If it would be hypotonic, our cells would be swelled and the cell would burst. We won't be surviving, right? Same in the case of hypotonic. Now, can you tell me why the cells? What happened? What type of situation happened in case of the leech? So here it is because of the it shrank, right? So the solution, the leech body was behaving as hypertonic, right? inside the condition formed here were like hypertonic, say it as a hypertonic conditions were formed, right? Because of it the water moved out, because the surface outside on the surface the solute concentration was more, inside they were less, because of which water moved out and the leech died, right? Now we'll see whether a raisin experiment we talked about. So we take some raisin, we put them in water. After 2 hours, raisins start to swell. But after 6 to 8 hours, the raisins swell more and raisin become larger and softer. So why does this happen? Because inside the raisin, there is high sugar concentration, but water is low. And see, outside water was more, but the sugar concentration was low. So what happened? Water moved from low concentration to higher concentration and caused because of osmosis. And yes, the skin of the raisin behaved as a semi-permeable medium, and because of this, the raisin swell. So we saw an example how the osmosis works in our daily life. So we saw it by raisin experiment. Another real life examples, you can say that how water is absorbed in the roots. So the water concentration in the soil is higher than in the root hair cells. So this is the root hair cell, and outside the water is more. Water move from soil into the root hair through a partially this membrane. Root hair membrane will behave as a partially permeable membrane. So the water will move inside the cell through osmosis. Water pass from cell to cell, then it will pass from cell to cell and then cortex and finally enter the water stream. So how did the root hair absorb? Outside the water, there is water, but along with that, there is low solute concentration. Inside, there is higher solute concentration because it is absorbing minerals also. So through osmosis, so from low concentration to higher solute concentration, water move from the soil to the root, and hence the water travels, ultimately reaches the xylem and the plant get water. So root here absorb water from the soil through the process of osmosis, right? So osmosis play a role in root absorption of water by the root here from the soil. So this how we see the real life examples for osmosis. So we finally concluded that water osmosis, the movement of water molecule from a region of, you say, higher water concentration. So if I'm saying higher water concentration, does it mean where the water concentration high means a lower solute concentration? We talked in the term of solute concentration, but if uh, if I say it has low solute concentration, it will be having higher water concentration, right? So that's why we can also say that water osmosis is the movement of water from higher water concentration to a region of lower water concentration through a selectively permeable membrane. But we studied in term of solute. So if I say a concentration, if I say a solution is having low solute concentration, means it will be higher in water concentration, right? And if a solute is having higher solute concentration, so it will be having lower water concentration. So if I talk in terms of solute concentration, it will be from lower to higher solute concentration, but in terms of, I talk of water concentration, then it will be from higher water concentration to lower water concentration. You got my point, right? And in plants, how does this help? Osmosis help. We saw that root hair absorb water from the soil by osmosis, and water moves into cell until a balance is reached, right? We saw the movement of water, like how water move into the cell and out cell, how three type of solutions were playing role: hypotonic, hypertonic and isotonic, right? Then this process help plant maintain turgidity, growth and transport of nutrient. So osmosis also help in maintaining the plant turgidity and growth, because root hair will absorb the water and help in new transport of nutrient, right? So this is a process which play an important role in our life and in everyday processes. Okay. So with this, we complete this lecture, and I hope you got a brief idea about osmosis. Hope this lecture helps you and you keep learning and keep exploring. Till then, take care. Thank you.